Good morning, happy Sunday. This is Addiction to Nonfiction Mountain Photographs. We are going live. We're announcing some very sad news about Ueli Steck. Swiss high-altitude mountaineer is now understood to be dead, and they have recovered his body from a soloing trip. He was climatizing in the Himalaya. He was on a mountain called Numptse that is a neighboring mountain to Mount Everest. He was above the 7,000 meter mark, and he was alone. We'll never know what happened. I'm certainly not going to draw any conclusions at this time. I've been on news all morning, just reading different details. Very, very sad. Actually, the peak he was on, this is Mount Everest. You can see here in this cool hat, but this is Mount Numptse. A beautiful, beautiful space of the world. I mean, so much good video of this area, and Ueli Steck was one of the greats. It was only a few years ago that I discovered Ueli Steck. His videos, the amount of videos produced around his climbing was inspiring, to say the least. Through some of my dark times, I was able to share in his adventures. The other day I thought about Ueli Steck. It was a funny moment. We were at a pub with a bunch of hockey fans, and everybody was talking about their favorite team, and inevitably a guy looked at me and said, who's your team? And I thought, I'm not into hockey, but I can tell you about mountaineering, because I knew Ueli Steck and a few other superstars of the mountaineering world were up to some crazy, wild stuff in the Himalaya. So I've been following these guys, following them like some follow their hockey teams. I've been following Ueli and just watching some of his accomplishments unfold. So we're devastated because we can't follow him any longer, but we can take a look over some career highlights. He was up the Eiger as a teenager. He later goes on to climb it many more times and set speed records there. So wild, that's one area you can look. He was first to solo Annapurna, massive Himalayan peak worth looking into, one of the more dangerous spaces and places in the Himalaya, and many prestigious awards, but most recently he was clocking summits with human power, paragliding, and in the Alps he was able to connect dozens and dozens of summits in one season. A remarkable accomplishment, most recent for him. So we're just so sad. We know that he won't be flying in his paraglider any longer, and so I got the news and just immediately started to think more about risk and more about soloing, and to think, you know, if Ueli was tied to somebody, if Ueli was tied to a partner, perhaps he'd still be alive today, but then he wouldn't have been soloing Himalayan peaks, and that's what's remarkable. So really, we're here at this like crux. Whenever we lose somebody, we're having to face the idea of like, what is the risk-reward ratio for adventure sports? And it's different for everybody. Like the video of Ueli Steck soloing the Eiger was almost too much just for my stomach. So I can't imagine what he was up to acclimatizing on Numptse. So here we've got this devastating news we're starting the day with, and I'm left saying, you know, what is my own risk-reward ratio? When I started following mountaineering as a sport or an activity, I knew very well that the men and women I was drawing courage from, they were going to be leaving us potentially early. And that's a strange realization. And here we are Sunday morning, we wake up and we have lost one of the greats. Super sad that I won't be able to draw more inspiration from his achievements to come. I'm left with the sad thought. I was really hoping he was one of the invincible ones. All right, well, with love, to rest in peace, Ueli Steck. I'll never look at Numptse the same. Yeah, thanks for trying so hard.